Welcome back, everyone. I'm P. Shravan Kumar, the founder of SK Associates and Group, and your host for Conference 1.4 on Student Driven Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development.
And I am Aditi Jain, the Chief Strategic Alliance Advisor of SK Associates and Group, and I am Shravan's co-host for Conference 1.4 on Student-Driven Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development. We would like to request all the speakers and attendees to switch on your webcams and stay on video throughout the conference. Now we would like to quickly introduce our guest for the second session of Conference 1.4.
Firstly, we would like to introduce Dr. Dev Kamal Datta, who is an Associate Professor of Strategic Management and Entrepreneurship at the Peter T. Toll College of Business and Economics, University of New Hampshire, USA. Previously, he held additional positions as fellow faculty and director, university minor in entrepreneurship. He is also an internationally renowned design thinking expert and a global mentor, ideagist, the world's largest virtual incubator accelerator. Dr. Datta completed his PhD in business administration from the Ivy Business School, Western University, Canada. His additional doctoral and postdoctoral training have been at the Case Western Reserve University, Long State University, Syracuse University, Texas A&M University, University of Texas at Austin, University of Michigan, Harvard University, MIT Sloan School, Stanford University, and New York University, Canada. Before moving to academia, Dr. Datta worked for 15 years in corporate entrepreneurship and strategic management, leading multinationals from India. In his academic work, Professor Datta teaches and researches topics at the intersection of strategy, innovation, and entrepreneurship. His current research projects relate to digital transformation, technology entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial ecosystem, and use of design thinking as an organizational capability. Dr. Datta has published over 40 research papers in leading peer-reviewed academic journals in his field. He has also co-edited 2 books on research in entrepreneurship scholarship. He sits on the editorial boards of IEEE Transactions in Engineering Management in the Journal of Small Businesses and Entrepreneurship and is an associate editor of the New England Journal of Entrepreneurship. Professor Datta regularly presents his research at major national and international conferences, and many of his papers have won Best Paper awards. In recognition of his research excellence, Datta was honored in 2019 as Outstanding Global Researcher at the Worldwide Academy for Global Business Advancement. Dr. Datta is also a certified design thinking educator and coach from both MIT and Stanford, certified executive coach for the sprint-based design thinking, remote collaboration platform, a lean launchpad educator, and a certified executive coach and consultant for the entrepreneurial mindset, the innovator mindset, the Basadot applied creativity profile, and technology entrepreneurship. He coaches and facilitates innovator mindset and design thinking workshops across the world, including as part of university general education programs, postgraduate and global executive MBA programs, and company admissions.
Our next guest on the panel is Dr. Jha, who has worked with leading corporates such as Amul, Unilever, the Times of India Group, Network 18, Web 18, Startup, CricketNext.com Private Limited, and launched brands such as Ching Secret and Uncle Chips in the Indian market successfully. Having acquired his educational degrees from prestigious institutions like Fergusson College and University of Pune, Professor Dr. Jha holds a PhD in marketing from Patna University and MBA marketing from Pune, along with an illustrious industry experience of around 30 years.
We also have Dr. Krupa Mehta, who is an assistant professor and placement in charge at S.K. Patel Institute of Management, Computer Studies, and coordinator of Student Startup Innovation Policy at the Education Department of Government of Gujarat. She is also a coordinator of SV Innovation Foundation, an incubation center of industry commissionerate, startup cell, run by Government of Gujarat, located in Kadi Sarva Vishwavidyalaya, Gandhinagar, Gujarat. Having 12 years of experience in the field of management, entrepreneurship, and startups, she has been providing funding and mentoring both to startups and entrepreneurs.
Our next guest on the panel is Dr. Piyush Panjal, who is an associate professor at the Open Jindal Global University. He did his PhD from IIM Ranchi. His teaching and research interests primarily include entrepreneurial market marketing, brand management, B2B marketing, and research methodology. He has published 5 research papers, 2 book chapters, a book review, numerous conference papers, and popular media articles. At the university, he has been the recipient of Research Recognition Award consecutively for the last 2 years. He has also worked on a prestigious government-funded project. Besides teaching and research, he has 4 years of industry experience. He also undertakes students and industry outreach activities.
We also have Dr. Sunil Kumar, Professor and Area Chair, Head of Department and Deputy Registrar at Alliance University, Bangalore. Dr. Kumar is also the Adjunct Professor of Doctoral Programs, School of Management and Leadership, Light College of Innovation, Cambridge, UK. Dr. Kumar has more than 2 decades of academic research and administrative experience. He firmly believes in the transformational power of education and approaches his teaching and learning in the classroom in that perspective. Dr. Kumar has developed copyrighted tools, occupational interest schedule, and competency mapping scale in industry professionals at managerial level. He has also published various research papers and articles in national and international journals of the field. Dr. Kumar has also been awarded several national and international awards.
We are also glad to have Ms. Parul Manchanda, an assistant professor in the Department of School of Business Studies at Vivekananda Institute of Professional Studies, New Delhi. She is also pursuing her PhD from University School of Management Studies, Guru Gobind Singh Intertrust University, Delhi, India. Has a rich 8+ years experience including industry and academia. Her research interests include online consumer behavior, e-commerce, and social media marketing sustainability. She has published 10 quality research papers in international journals of repute which have been listed in ABDC and indexed in Scopus and many other in UGS-approved journals. Some of her prominent research works have been published in Journal of Promotion Management, ABDC-B Scopus, International Journal of Global Fashion Marketing, ABDC-B Scopus, Pacific Business Review International, Web of Science, International Journal of Public Sector Performance Management Scopus, Urgent Business and Management Taylor Scopus indexed.
We would like to request all the guests and attendees to kindly switch on your respective webcams throughout the conference. We would also like to inform all of you that the HR team is conducting polls in the chat box of the session. To actively participate in the same by giving your opinions. Now, we would like to invite Dr. Dev K. Datta, Associate Professor at University of New Hampshire, US, to share his insights.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar and Ms. Jain. I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you so much for the very kind introduction that you provided, Mr. Kumar. It's my great pleasure to be with everyone here, and I can see that I'm in very august company, so I thank everyone for joining today. And without further ado, then just let me launch into my presentation. Just going to share my screen now. And I have, Mr. Kumar, I have about 15 minutes from now to present. Is that correct? Are you all able to see my screen?
No, sir, not yet.
Not yet? Okay, 1 second. How about now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So this is going to be short, but I'm happy to meet up at another time in case people have questions. So let me launch into this without any further delay, because the topic is about entrepreneurship, and it's primarily driven toward like helping to inculcate an entrepreneurial mindset among students. So I thought that a good topic for this evening's discussion would be, how do entrepreneurs actually discover their opportunities and how do they become successful entrepreneurs? I think this is the primary question that anyone who's launching an initiative in entrepreneurship should be concerned with. How do I really identify opportunities? And then if I do identify them, how can I be a successful entrepreneur myself? Because as everyone knows, about 80 to 90% of first-time ventures fail. And of course, entrepreneurs learn a lot from their experience, and research has shown that their second venture has a much higher probability of being successful. But there's no denying the fact that 80 to 90% of first-time ventures fail. So if there's any way a person embarking on entrepreneurship can try and ensure that their venture is successful and it can survive, I think that would be very important for anyone in entrepreneurship to know more about. So what does research say? Why do some individuals discover opportunities and not others? India is a very entrepreneurial society, and people have always been trying to come up with innovative ideas and take them to the market. And I know that the government of India at this time is supporting a lot of entrepreneurship through Startup India and Make in India and other initiatives like that. So while people are, in general, I think there's a lot of energy and enthusiasm about entrepreneurship now, and it has increased even more in the last few years. I think it's important to go back to research and see that why not all individuals identify opportunities. Are opportunities something that are available always, and some of us see them and others do not see them? Or is it that we have to think of opportunities ourselves, like they have to be created all over? So in the past, research looking at this question has identified a number of factors which seem to show why some individuals discover opportunities and not others. The first is access to information. We always know that being in the right place at the right time, having access to information is so important. So entrepreneurs have been, conceptualized as individuals who are able to put two and two together. So some disparate, strands of information which people may not relate together. Entrepreneurs are able to see some kind of synergy among them, and based on that information, they're able to identify a gap that exists in the market, and then decide, okay, how can we cover that gap? What kind of product or service can we introduce in order to bridge the gap and tap into that latent market as it is? So they suddenly have access to information. But it is also true that all people who have access to the same information may not be able to see an entrepreneurial opportunity. So there is a twist in the tail out there, and we have to understand why that is the case. The second thing is, usually opportunities are found along an individual's knowledge corridor. So, we all grow up in a culture, we have our prior training, and then we go through our educational process, and maybe we gather some experience. Maybe we see our family business in operation. Maybe our parents or grandparents are entrepreneurs themselves. So over time, a kind of a knowledge corridor builds up for us along which we make our trajectory. And that, the content of that knowledge corridor and what events have happened in that knowledge corridor is also an indicator as to whether we will identify a new opportunity. The third one in literature is called the search initiatives. That means how we engage in the process of searching for opportunities itself may help us to identify an opportunity. So the nature of the search initiative is very important. Social ties, I cannot, overemphasize the importance of this. As we form social networks and get to know people and get to understand people's lives and, work with them together, all kinds of opportunities may come. So social ties are a very important part of entrepreneurial proclivity. And then the last is our cognitive abilities ourselves, whether we have had the prior background in entrepreneurial training, maybe we have assessed our own entrepreneurial mindset for which, tools are available, or we have gone through a formal business program where we have specialized in entrepreneurship. All of these things seem to make some individuals just right for tapping into opportunities, and others who may not have had all of these seem to be the case that they may not be able to discover an opportunity themselves. So that's something about prior research. Then there are two processes that help to shape the opportunities. Identifying an opportunity or thinking that possibly an opportunity exists is one thing, but then to be able to actually persist through the process and go through the whole gamut of things to evaluate that opportunity and actually take steps to work on it. is another thing. So there is an entrepreneurial process that comes into place once once an opportunity is, the idea of an opportunity is understood or something is seen in the horizon. Then we have to engage in a process to actually fructify that opportunity. And on that, there are it's like two views exist. One is the view of causation, and the other one is the view of effectuation. So what's the primary difference between these two processes? And entrepreneurs engage in both of them. I mean, sometimes an opportunity would be primarily causation driven, sometimes it'll be primarily effectuation driven. And I'll give examples of when one will be the case and the other will be the case. First, let's understand what these processes are. So causation processes take a particular effect as given and focus on selecting among different means to create that effect. So I kind of already know that, this is what I want to do. Finally, I want to introduce this product in the market so that I know that there's an untapped potential in the market. I know there's a latent need among customers. I know I have a more or less a good product for that. I just want to bridge the gaps in middle so that I can, prepare a business plan. I can get the financing. I can get a manufacturing setup, organized, or I can, buy raw materials, all of those, and then ultimately I'll be able to deliver them. So it's like the end goal of that process is given, and I go through steps of causation. Like this one will help me to do this. This will help me to do this. And I need these supplies. I need to be able to, have a marketing channel for it. All of that is causation. Effectuation is to take a set of means as given and focus on selecting among possible effects. So, it's like, I don't know what the end goal is, but I have a few things with me as resources or as capabilities or as my orientation. And I just want to see how best I can use all of this to generate an opportunity. So that's effectuation. So let's take an example. Like if for instance, like a technology is already available for making a product. For instance, let's take the case of when cell phone technology became available, right? I mean, we were people who initially set up mobile phones, they said that, okay, we have the internet, we have the cell phone technology, which can, distribute signals amongst towers and all that. How can we make this into an effective portable product that we can give in the hands of the customers and using which the customers can do a lot of their own work? So is that causation? Yeah, I would say that since technology is available, the need for having a portable means of communication among people or having something that is mobile and not fixed like a landline telephone, maybe a latent need was there to some extent. So that could have been a causation process. I think there's a little bit of effectuation also involved in this example, but it's primarily causation, that people were getting frustrated with their landlines and they wanted something portable. That's why you had pagers. And then, ultimately we had first generation and second generation cell phones. In the case of effectuation process, a good example would be the case of the SpaceX program that Tesla CEO Elon Musk is initiated. All this time until a few years back, when people were thinking about space programs, we only thought about ISRO or NASA or agencies like that, and that they would be at the hallmark of leading scientific expeditions into outer space and all. Then comes Elon Musk. He says, why not we do this as a kind of travel to the solar system for individuals? There may be rich individuals who want that kind of excitement and that sort of travel. Can we not have space travel and have a program associated with that and technologies developed for that so that we make it available for people in general, not the scientists working in NASA or astronauts working in ISRO? So, to think big like that. And of course, Elon Musk has not only does he have this uncanny ability to identify potential dreams, thing like that, which could be, with a lot of resources, be given some kind of shape. He is also a very rich individual. He has a network. He had connections with Russian satellite companies and all of that. So based on all of those means as given, he kind of worked out that let's offer something very dramatic and spectacular to people. So this would be an effectuation process. Now the question comes, should entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs who are hoping to identify opportunities and make a successful venture, should they follow the causation path or should they follow the effectuation path? That would depend on what are you thinking? Are you working with, have you already identified a latent unmet gap in the market and you are sure that that gap exists, and you also have a more or less a kind of a product or service to bridge that gap, and your steps are now to convince people to give you financing and work with you together to do that. If you're doing that, then it will be causation. But if you're thinking that, okay, I have some resources, I have some knowledge, but I have to somehow put all of these together and come up with something that is, as of now, not available in the market at all, like nobody's even dreamt about it, and I'm going to create that opportunity, then I would be following effectuation. So successful entrepreneurs can follow one or the other process. Sometimes they may even try to combine both of these in some ways. But it's good to be aware of this so that you know where you're coming from and which direction or trajectory you would be taking. So I'm going to, just continue with this and say that causation focuses on predictable aspects of an uncertain future, and effectuation focuses on controllable aspects of an unpredictable. So effectuation is about, I have these resources based on these are the things, parameters I can control. Let me predict a future that is, as of now, uncertain. And the other one is I can predict the future, but I want to be able to lower my risks and co-opt other people so that I can actually launch that product. So in fact, effectuation is highly rational, bridges the gap between rationality and irrationality, whereas effectuation goes beyond that. It kind of operates based on deviations from rationality. People who are looking at effectuation-based entrepreneurs in the beginning might think that they are mad or they are, thinking of something that is just impossible. But then these entrepreneurs persist with that and they're able to create something almost out of nothing. And then other people say that, oh, how come we didn't think about this at all? And this has become such an important thing for us now. So either approach is very useful and helpful. We have to know what we are going with and what is the ultimate thing that we want based on entrepreneurship. Just to conclude my presentation, if you are following an effectuation principle, because the causation-based pathway is somewhat linear, it progresses from one stage to another, and you know the end goal anyway. So, things are kind of more laid out for you in a sequence, but effectuation is not like that. You have to constantly go back and forth and imagine and reimagine. So effectuation is generally more difficult to adopt. So what are the things that we have to do based on this? 5 principles, and I'm going to end with this. The first is bird in hand. That means you imagine the possibilities based on what you have in terms of the means. Second is we are not taking undue risk. We are seeing how much loss can we afford at each step. Third is the lemonade principle. There will be uncertainties, like making lemonade out of lemon, right? So make something useful out of something that may be a rude surprise for you. Patchwork quilt means like co-opting other people and trying to form partnerships. And the final thing is the pilot in the plane. With all of this, you are still the person who is driving the whole thing. So you are the pilot in the plane.
Datta, we would like to thank Dr. Dev Datta for his beautiful and marvelous speech and request him to share his mail in the chat box for any queries our attendees might have. Moving ahead, we would like to invite Dr. Karunakar Jha, Professor and Director at Cardiff University, UK, to commence his speech.
Firstly, good evening to everybody. Hi, everybody there. It's wonderful to see all of you young people looking very keen to understand what entrepreneurship is all about and trying to jump yourself into that big ocean where so much is possible, but sometimes we find it so difficult. So tell me, how many of you sitting here in this arena, which has been very well, I must thank Mr. Sharan Kumar and SK Associates who have organized this. Because you know what, the more we talk about entrepreneurship, I think the more it's possible that we can do it. And that's how we'll get ideas, as Dr. Datta also shared some time back, his thoughts on how and what way to go ahead and become an entrepreneur and what are the things to look at basically. Basically I feel today as being an entrepreneur myself, I realized in life, one needs to bite the dust. One, I can talk to you about so many things about entrepreneurship, but if I have not done it myself, you won't believe me. The proof of the pudding is in eating. Purely, I believe in that kind of. My life has been purely based on that. I got into entrepreneurship in 2000 when the entire the dot-com boom in India. I don't know how many of you know what dot-com means. Dot-com was a very new term in India, where all the internet startups had come down. They were setting up new internet companies. A lot of new companies were born, because not, I think 95% of them are not there today. They were there at that time. A lot of money was spent on brand building. A lot of money was spent in terms of funding. But what happened? What really happened? So, that's my point here, basically. We talk about a lot of good things, about why entrepreneurship is important. The Prime Minister of India is making and giving mudra loans to all over. Go ahead and do it. But where is the problem? Why are we not getting entrepreneurs? Why are we not getting good entrepreneurs? Why do we always we are struggling, and why do we need to? What is the basic root cause of the problem here? What is happening? Why such bright minds, who are qualified, who know what they're doing, they know what to do, they have got a great qualification behind it. Actually, there's something which is going wrong. Basically, the basic things are going wrong. And I want to share that with you. I don't want to talk not something very heavy with you. I want to make life simple for you, because it's the simple things in life which is most important for you to understand as an entrepreneur. One of the basic things you have to understand today is, why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Because we are doing a forum today, we are discussing about it. So because we are talking about it, just because somebody say, hey, come on guys, job nahi mil raha hai, to entrepreneur ban jao. Is that a good way to look at it? Tell me. That's what happened. That's what happened. People started realizing that because you're not getting a job, become an entrepreneur. Hey, one second, I'll call, one second. Shriram, I'm on a webinar. Can I call you back? Hello? Yeah, I'll just call you. Yeah. So, this is what is the most important thing. In India, we have this herd mentality, because there is something happening. And what happened in 2000? People started entering to entrepreneurship in India in such large numbers that they felt, that's the next solution to life. And everybody was leaving jobs, cushy jobs, easy jobs. I left one, but I had a passion. I left because I had a passion. I want to do something new. I was getting bored of my PPTs and targets and positions, same old meetings and job. I said, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to do something different in life. My wife, we were settled in Pune. We had a wonderful life going on. But I said, no, life is not enough till we do something of our own. There's something more we can do. And that is the biggest thing that has to be within you. Is it there within you? Do you think you can be? I mentor a lot of my young students here, management students here, sitting here in my business school. And I find they start well and they suddenly falter. There's something goes wrong. Everything is going well till a point, and then what happens? Suddenly they lose the fire to become. They find, oh no, it'll be difficult. Let's take a job and let's go there. I used to be in Dehradun earlier, in a university, and we used to have a lot of the BTech students, who used to study there. Great ideas, wonderful business plan, wonderful innovative product. But last mile, not the inner desire was not there. The inner desire was not there. And my dear friends, young friends, bright friends sitting in front of me, you make me feel younger. And that's what I love about you. Young people, I love about education. Is that, when you see young people sitting in front, you feel more energetic, you feel more enthusiastic. And I tell you one thing, that is the fire you got to have within you. Most important thing, I don't know, people must have told you a number of times, and I'm telling you right now, do what you want to do. What is you want? Don't do it because Mr. Shravan Kumar or Dr. Karunakar Jha or anybody else is telling you to do it. Don't do it. Don't do it at all. Just drop it out of your plan. Do it, and no matter how difficult it is, do it. If that is within you, that is the most important. Good. You have difficulties. You have two choices in life today. You have a simple road and you have a difficult road. You decide what do you want to choose. Easy one will make you reach faster, no problems. You'll reach home. You'll be happy. Everything will go well. But the difficult one will make you learn a lot of things on the path. And that is what entrepreneurship is all about. It's not easy going, my dear friends. It's tough, but I've done it. I'm not telling you because I'm giving you a research paper. I'm not telling you because it's a lovely word to talk about to young people. No, I'm telling you, I've done it. I've been an entrepreneur, and I love I enjoyed that journey. It was tough. It was fascinating. It almost broke me down as a person, but I rose. I rose from defeat, and I succeeded. And that is the desire, the fire within you. You got to have. My dear friends, you can do a lot of research. You can do a lot of stuff, but if you're not there within you, if you don't have that, you can't do anything. That's the first. So my basically what I'm trying to tell you here is that as a person, are you strong enough to take those knocks on your head? You have to take those knocks. These are you as a person, you have to make yourself very, very strong, individual, not get, you'll have 20 options in front of you or maybe 1,000 options. People will tell you, hey, ये idea अच्छा नहीं है, कोई नया कर लो यार, वो तो नया, why do you do this? Hey, this is not good, my dear friend. ये बेकार है, ये क्यों नहीं करते? अरे तुम क्या करो यार? बेवकूफ हो तुम यार. Your own father will tell you, your own brother will tell you, your own teacher will tell you, hey, you stupid man, what the hell are you trying? It doesn't matter. You believe it. You believe it's working. You believe you can do it. That is why. But then it's not easy, my dear friends. It's easier said than done. We are living in a family, group, society, community. We get affected, don't we? It's human beings. And what we do, we lose a very good idea and we go to a very weak idea. And then we fail. Then people say, hey, you're a failure. Begar hai. Chhod do, naukri. And that's where the problem is. We have to persist. We have to have the perseverance. You got to battle it out, my dear friends. Doesn't matter. Maybe you'll have no money at times. You'll be not be able to pay salary to me. I could not pay salary. I had to carry my bag and collect cash from my clients to pay the salary. I had to cut my own salary, my dear friends, to almost 30% of what I got. That's it. I was used to parties and Friday evenings out. All that was stopped for next couple of years. That is what entrepreneurship is all about. See, my dear friends, I'm telling you right from the heart. I don't want to talk from the books. I don't want to talk from anything else. I'm saying because again coming back to you're a wonderful people. You've got great ideas. You've got a wonderful future. But don't do things which are very predictable. So perseverance is very, very important as I came to that. First is fire, passion, and your perseverance. You must look at the opportunity. Are you doing something which is nobody has done? Are you doing something which somebody has done badly? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But you got to do something new. You got to innovate. Why India entrepreneurship? We don't have innovation. They're not innovating. We're not doing something new. How many e-commerce companies came and they all walked away? None of them survived. We just have to put Amazon and Flipkart. We don't go anywhere else. We want to shop. There's no place to go to. There's a new brand called Misho, which has come right now. So we'll go to show right now. But basically, what is the problem? There's no innovation at all. And the innovation at all happening in the industry. And that's the reason. Can I share one of the few points? Can you help me share it, Banbati? Who can help me? Go share.
The fourth option from fifth option from your left, second, third option. You have this present now option.
Present now. Okay, present now. Okay, fine. I'll just do it now. I'll do it. Okay. Okay. Will it my thing? I've not done it on Google. I've done it more or less on Zoom and other options. I've not done it on Google Meet. Take a minute. I'm not done. I'll just get it. Yeah. One sec. I got it. Got it. Has it come now? Can you see it, guys?
Not,
Hello?
not yet.
Not yet. Someone share it.
Share.
Hello?
We can see it, sir, now.
You can see it.
So visible.
You know, scientist whom I love doing, you know, and I follow him very, closely. He's Steve Jobs. He's not there anymore. And but I love Steve Jobs and I love the way he's gone about his life. He says, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. There's some who already know what you truly want to become. So there's already something within you which is giving you the idea that you want to become something, but you're not letting it come through. Understand one thing? Do what you love. Passion is everything. Innovation, which simply means new ways of doing things that improve our lives, cannot flourish unless you are truly obsessed. You've got to be a maverick. Have you heard about a term called maverick? Are you a maverick? People call maverick mad. Be mad. People should call you mad, call you crazy. Hear that. They should tell you you're crazy, man. If you don't hear that term from somebody, that means you're not doing the right thing. You've got to be crazy. People should tell you you're crazy. That's it. Have the courage to take that comment somebody says. Somebody says you're crazy, listen to it. There's a positive side in that. There's a positive message coming to you. That means you're doing something very different, wild. Have you heard about Richard Branson? He says that. He was a school dropout himself. What happened? Where he went? How many companies he owned? He didn't care what people spoke about him. That's it. These are things to be kept in mind. You have people in front of you. And to have passion. The passion is the fire. There you see. How this will do? This vision. Place now. You need to know where you are going, what ultimate destination is, and what you need to inspire others, evangelists. So this is an important aspect to be kept in mind, my dear friends. Is what do you to do? Kya karna chahte? To make what happened to education companies? They all came in a big way. They were smart people. They thought pandemic is going to be lasting longer. So everybody came into edutech. What happened today? Come on. What happened to online? What happened? Now you're fed up. Nobody wants you to do education now. You want to get back to classes. Tell me how many of you want to do online education now? You don't want to. You're fed up. So that is what is the important thing here. Know what you want to do, what difference you want, how big the market is. Is it big enough? Is it worth it getting into it? Does the market have potential? No, then don't get into it. No, you must understand that very, very clearly. It's very important to keep in mind. And so you need to inspire others so others can also follow you in this area. Start your brain. This is again a very, very important. Innovation and creativity is very, very important if you want to be an entrepreneur. And Steve Jobs believes that a broad set of experiences expands our understanding of the human experience. A broader understanding leads to breakthrough that others may have missed. Breakthrough innovation requires creativity. Creativity requires that you think differently about the way you think. The way we eat in the house, we eat differently. Somebody eats, in a different manner. Somebody does things in a different manner. Somebody walks differently. Somebody gives a different idea. What does it mean? That I'm thinking differently. I don't have the same idea which others have. I think differently. I give a different write differently. I write my project differently. I write my answers differently. I make my talk differently. I don't talk the way others talk. Why? That means I have got something in me which is pushing something different. Now, take an idea and do it different. That is the key part. So, my dear friends, this is another aspect you need to keep in mind is that the creativity part. Very, very important. You must be very creative also. Sell dreams and not products. Your customers don't care about your product. Your company, your brand, they care about themselves, their hope, dream, their ambition. Help them fulfill their dreams and you will win them all over. Do you agree on this? How many of you don't agree on this? Tell me. Do you agree on this? That you don't you buy what? You buy love. You buy why do you chocolate? How do you buy something you you go go beyond and don't yourself. Something. It learns time, yourself time. Okay, people don't want millions of dollars in this time of 6 months. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. Even for Steve Jobs, it took him what number of years? It takes give this time to fructify.
Excuse me, Mr. Shah. Just wrap. Right.
Yeah, I know. Just give me 2 minutes. Got 2 more slides. That's all. I've got 2 more slides, so I'll wrap it up. No problem. If you're not that's very good. And instantly great experiences. This is very important. And master the message. That is the last one. First was instantly great experiences, and finally is master the message very clearly. You be the master of whatever you are doing and delivering to the consumers or people at large. So I just thought I don't like to speak from the book. I don't like to speak from everything. I speak from the heart. I think you young people need that more right now. You need from the heart, from people who have done it and who have the word of entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship actually is all about. So, my dear friends, it's great to be an entrepreneur. It's great to be an entrepreneur. Don't put because we are doing it today. This is because you want to do it. You love doing
Now, we would like to
it.
thank his informative speech and request him to share his email ID in the chat for any queries our attendees might have. It was an amazing opportunity to hear to him. Now, we would like to invite Dr. Kripa Mehta, Assistant Professor at KSU University, to start his speech.
Yeah, so good evening, all of you. Thank you so much for providing the place, introduction and coordination as well. Towards the education. So I and sir, Karuna, sir, I'm working on entrepreneurship. So it's like failed because the being the unit of the and any kind of this society from them as you know, until integration being intelligence and the government the innovation this technology and the government of India is looking the under की आवाज So that is what about the entrepreneurship, and then you can start with the societal issues and problem, and along with the technological interventions and all, and then you can design the startup. So that is what the perception with the and entrepreneurship. So I would like to like ready to provide the support, funding, and networking and all that, because so many incubation centers are uh, to grant to the different kind of the universities in Gujarat.
Dr. Mehta actually was getting again and again. Just work on it.
Where they can provide the just a minute. So now it's so now it's visible. Yeah, it's visible now. Hello.
Yeah, it's clearly audible in this.
Okay, thank you. So as I told you about that student startup and innovation policy, where we can provide the grant to the startup as well and to the entrepreneur. And second scheme is all about the industry commissionerate department of government of Gujarat, where it's like clearly they have mentioned about startup cell of government of Gujarat, where they can provide the grant to 30 lakh. For that, innovations and creations are required, because anyhow, without innovations or creation, you cannot apply the startup cell of government of Gujarat. Third is like very important scheme of DIC. You can say Jilla Udyog Kendra. For each and every city in Gujarat, DIC are available. So where they are providing the different kind of the grant to the cluster as well. Even though they are ready to rural development, because right now government is working on a rural preneur, some level of the grassroots innovations as well. So they are ready to provide the grant to the grassroots innovation, ruralpreneur and all that. So where you can design the simple kind of the concept and you can easily get the grant. Third is like Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, where they are ready to provide the grant to the startup also and to the incubation also. Under that, you can design the any kind of the technology and innovations, and call center also you can design. You can design co-working space as well. There is wonderful concept which is available for the co-working space, because the moment you have registered under Department of Science and Technology under that co-working space, where they are ready to provide the rent support to the startup to 10,000 and 12,000, because now time co-working space is like trending like anything. So once as an LLP, yeah, private limited company, you have NPanel, your private limited towards the government of India, Department of Science and Technology, you will get the benefit. Along with that, up to 200 crore, as per your investment, they are ready to provide the support, where there is no need to intervention or technology and all that. But easily you can maintain your bank statement, your investment and everything, and you will get that support. So these all are the benefits are available to the startup also and to the entrepreneur also. So these all are the points to which I need to highlight. If you all are like concerned about the more detail, how can we apply, how can we manage that particular activities, being an entrepreneur, being a startup. Yeah, if you have any contact on networking, feel free to approach. I will guide you. In fact, rather happy to guide you in terms of that particular direction. So thank you so much, all of you, and thanks a lot once again. Have a good day to all. Thank you.
We would like to thank Dr. Krupa Mehta for her knowledgeable speech and request her to share her mail in the chat box for any queries our attendees might have. Now I would like to
Sure.
invite
Thanks.
Dr. Piyush Kanjal, Assistant Professor at OP Jindal Global University, to share his perspectives.
Hi, good evening. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay, perfect. And I hope you can see me because I don't have a PowerPoint, so you'll have to bear with my face. Okay, perfect. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you are in the world. Uh, my name is Piyush, and first of all, I'd like to thank SK Associates team, Mr. Shawan Kumar, and everyone else there for this wonderful conference and for having me. Um, And I would also like to thank the speakers before me, Professor Datta, Professor Jha, and Professor Mehta, for their insights and for sharing their knowledge. Entrepreneurship is a very vast topic because I've been trying to teach something around entrepreneurship. Not really teach entrepreneurship, but entrepreneurial marketing. How to market an entrepreneurial product, venture, mostly a venture. Something that has not been done much. So I did not have anything to go with early on. So what we have done, in fact, me and some of my colleagues from my research colleagues and my teaching colleagues, we have tried to prepare a course, if I can call it a program or course on entrepreneurial marketing. Traditional marketing has a lot of courses, and you all know what the courses are, what are popular, what are not popular, and all that. But entrepreneurial marketing is something which is very new to me as well, because I never thought that entrepreneurship can be taught. That was my understanding. But during the course of this, designing the course, delivering it, and then the feedback that we are getting from our university, at our university, from our students, I thought some of the things can be taught. There are some things that we can teach. So I only share my observations that we have from this particular course by designing this course. Uh, First of all, students, mostly I'm calling them students because, of course, they are budding entrepreneurs. So, what we have here is a batch of, in this particular program on entrepreneurship, is a small batch of 20 odd students, entrepreneurs. Half of them are already entrepreneurs, half of them are budding entrepreneurs. So, half of them have their own ventures. It's up and running, mostly around electronic commerce, mostly around electronic commerce, because that's the in thing. Some in fintech, some in healthcare, and the budding ones are also trying to get into healthcare and education. Now that edtech is has taken a hard beating in the current economy, a lot of them are sort of thinking of backing off from edtech. What we say to them is, if you have a good thing, a good idea, a good product, you should go ahead with it. Don't be let down by others' successes and failures. So keep working at it. Try to perfect it. Try to make it as sound as possible in the market, and then probably you'll do well. So the first thing that I would like to share from my observation, from our observations in the particular course, in the particular program that we have designed, is we have come across three sets of skills that are required, because everybody is now talking about skills. Uh, Earlier on, we used to talk about knowledge and ability. Nowadays, it's all about skills, and it's the buzzword, it's the in word. So probably I'll also use that same jargon, so to speak. So three sets of skills we have seen that are more important. One, we call them as technical skills, very obvious things. Obvious things like knowledge of R&D, new product design. Design thinking is something that has become very popular recently, and it has taken off like anything. So that is something that is very useful. Another thing that we came across is operations specific to the industry. Whichever industry you are trying to get in, if it's fintech, you should have that knowledge of fintech, how it works. If it is health tech, then health tech. If it is something else, if it is a brick and mortar, old school business, then knowledge of the operations of that business. If it is consulting, then knowledge of consulting, that kind of a thing. Second set is managerial skills. Uh, and the third, I'll talk about managerial skills later. The third one is personal skills. Personal skills is something that you develop over a period of time. So communication, ability to take risk or risk appetite, change orientation, how persistent are you? These are some of the things that are personal in nature, your personal skills. So we have technical skills, personal skills, and then we have managerial skills. So where we come in as academicians is imparting managerial skills mostly. Of course, we can do some bit of technical skills as well because I am in a social sciences university, so we are more towards imparting managerial skills. Of course, in a technical university, which also we also try to do as part of our education programs, but so technical skills are something that you need to develop from your undergrad programs, maybe an engineering course, maybe it could be anything depending on your sector, depending on your area. So managerial skills is something that, at least in our observation, and this we are also trying to convert this into our observations and our experiences during the preparation of this course. We are also trying to convert it into a research paper. So what all we have come across is managerial skills is something that a lot of students, budding entrepreneurs, they lack, especially the ones who are very, very young. What we have seen is in the last 2.5 decades or so, when entrepreneurship was not a buzzword, it was still business. Startup was not a buzzword, it was still business. So at that time, the average age of entrepreneurs was around 35, 40 something. Before that, sorry, I won't call them entrepreneurs, businessmen, business people. It was 35, 40 and on that age. The age has been decreasing. The average age has been falling every decade. The program that we are teaching in, that program has students who are from in the age group of 18 to 24. Very, very young. As I've already said, half of them already have an entrepreneurial venture. 2 of them already have break-even. They are already in profit, already in the green zone. So they are all, and it's all bootstrapped. So it's their own funding and all. So they're doing quite well, And the other half who are trying to do it, they're also learning, of course, in the program and from the fellow students. I'm again using the term students. So what can be done for these young fellows? They have technical knowledge because of course the younger generation is much more adept with technology, especially when it comes to the digital space. Of course, there's technology in manufacturing as well. A lot more technology in manufacturing, a lot more technology in other domains as well, in agri as well. But when we use the term tech now, we usually refer it to digital technology. So, of course, the younger people, the people who are half my age and less than that, they have a lot of definitely much more knowledge than me in terms of digital technology, much more adept. So they are more. It becomes very easy to have a startup there for them. It is very, very natural to them. It's not very natural for me, but it's very natural to them, for them. Right. So what do they lack is managerial skills, because that comes either with experience or with certain programs, and that is something that they lack in the market because they have never worked. Some of them are fresh out of school. I have 2 of them in my class who started off in this school. And they're actually fresh out of school. Both of them are 19-year-old, and they have their bootstrapped, well-funded startup that is doing quite well, and you might hear about them soon. So they're doing quite well. So what do they lack is this managerial skill. How can you impart this managerial skill? So that is something that we are trying to do. So we have certain unique courses. I won't say very, very unique. It's marketing is marketing. Wherever you teach it, the concepts never change. It's the context that has changed. The context is, earlier the context was traditional businesses. So marketing was also very traditional. Now it is entrepreneurship, much more focus on entrepreneurship. And every other speaker before me has talked about the focus on entrepreneurship, especially of our government. So for that, a different kind of education is required. And frankly, the National Education Policy 2020, which is now coming into effect slowly but steadily, is probably a right foot in the direction. So probably we'll see more of that. So what I want to focus on is, and I want other academicians to focus on, is inter and multidisciplinary education. Don't rely on one thing and one way of imparting that education. The same old classroom method, the same old lecture method, or even projects and all. Let it be more practical, more hands-on. Let them do something on the ground and let them fail. There was something that I missed in the introduction. I'm also a failed entrepreneur twice. So what I did, I took a safe path. We are now a consortium of 35 investors. Most of us are faculties, teachers across different business schools, IITs and IIMs and different business schools, and we invest as a consortium. So far we have invested in a couple of businesses. So we invest as a consortium. So that is something that we are doing. So we have taken a safer path because we are really not entrepreneurs. I won't call myself an entrepreneur. I'm just an investor, and that too a very silent investor. But I see what is happening on the ground. At least we get very young minds with great ideas, and we get to listen to them and learn from them. They are the ones who are working on the ground, trying to learn from them. Again, that's why more hands-on experience is required. Academicians will talk about academics, but it is the practical application of it that is much more important when it comes to entrepreneurship. But traditional business might survive on its own, right? So what I see more important than classroom teaching is mentoring and coaching. If these students are attached with already successful entrepreneurs, someone who has done well, or someone who has seen the world as in some experience in entrepreneurship, or maybe even in traditional businesses, right? Especially if the businesses demand a lot of sales and marketing, because sales and marketing in itself are quite entrepreneurial activities. Operations and finance, and they're not so much. Sales and marketing in itself is very entrepreneurial. So every salesperson, every marketer is an entrepreneur. So learn from them, the ones who are always facing the market. That is something, because my work in marketing, all my research and all my industry experience, and even my failed forays into entrepreneurship have been in sales marketing. So that is something that I always talk about. Again, going back to basics in management is absolutely. Just a minute more. So again, going back to basics is something that I always promote. If a course helps, a program, an education program helps, do it, but do it with a practicum. Right? Have that practical sense. Right? Apply it. Don't just do the course. The course will not help you become an entrepreneur. The course will not help you. I know there are quite a lot of courses out there. The course will not help you. Do it. Do it down, and then maybe attach to a program, and that gives a more structured approach to you. So that is what I just wanted to share. Theory is not bad. Learning concepts is not bad. Applying it is very important. Then improvising it is these are even more important. So thank you. That's it. That's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Actually, the speech was great, Dr. Pranjal. I would like to thank Dr. Kesh Pranjal for his speech and request him to share his mail in the chat box. Any queries that attendees might have. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Sunil Kumar, professor at Alliance University, to share his views on industry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for inviting me for kind introduction at the beginning of this program today. So, let me share my slides. So I just wrote down a few points from the speaker, right? I just read them, so don't mind if I quote them somewhere. So I think in academics, for research cheating is but ethical cheating. So let me share my slide. Seems something like this. So I need to share my screen. Take just a few seconds. Enough for Mr. Shivam, my screen is visible. Okay. So let me start with few things taken from other speakers. Right? If you start with the first speaker, Professor Datta, right? He's talking about the gap in the market. He says that if there's a gap in the market in terms of production, in terms of any area which has been untouched by any company or entrepreneur, we can touch that area. That is a gap we talk about. And even he said that we need to have some kind of prediction or forecasting. I would say that. I mean, it comes to forecasting, so we need to have some basic skills to learn those forecasting techniques from like missions. So I'm sorry to say that, but my talk will be purely academic and research based. And when I talk about Professor Jha, so what he talks about, you need to experience your field first, get into the field. And to need to feel the experience, we need to have right those skills to get into the market. And even he talk about vision should be there for working for any startup or any job, maybe for or your own venture. And then we had Dr. Rupa Mehta, right? And she talked about wonderfully about many policies which government of India is providing us as entrepreneurs. And finally, we had Professor Dr. Piyush Pranjal. He talked about that what kind of thing we should have to be an entrepreneur. We should have application based on application. So my focus will be that only, right? So that's why it's purely academic in nature. If you start with the beginning of as entrepreneur, right? So we need to have a few things right in mind. So what happens normally in our system? So things over NEP 2020. So it brings something different from traditional teaching method, teaching learning what we have in the past. So what we should have learning based on students' competency. So we don't even check their competency, in which they are good. And they could be good marketer, they could be good entrepreneur, they could be good software engineer. But what we see due to maybe peers impact, maybe parents force, right? They get into some area which they don't like you. So first we need to check their competency once they join the course. If we can map that, right? So it'll be better for us to understand who are going to this. And now we should have this master classroom, right? A teacher's classroom, I would say. I get to my class, I would say, don't look for a teacher, look for a guide, a professor, right? So the classroom should be not even pandemic taught us, right? What in the classroom we can in real life. So could be flipped classroom, could be video classroom, could be e-learning method we should adopt. So let them sometime learn by themselves, right? Let them learn from the place where they are, right? Which is things we do like that, but sometimes restriction by our regulatory bodies. We should have offline class, but we can start with that. I'm working with few universities outside India where I just go for my e-lectures. There is no physical classroom. Even they invite me, but still I prefer to go for e-classroom. Very innovative and easy to manage actually, those things. And nowadays, even NEP brought this in picture, but still we are lagging behind to make our curriculum choice-based. Let them learn by themselves. So we do few things in university, like students who are in MBA, any other program. So they opt for MBA marketing, even they had chance to learn fintech. So we define those minors. So we should have this kind of curriculum, which can motivate entrepreneurs to learn so many things in terms of their own field, the marketing, finance that they have. Even they can learn about technology. So those things we should bring in picture as a mission. And even we need to skill us as well as faculty. And we need to be with the up-to-date skills actually. So what can we do for that? We can even train our professors with the advanced technology of teaching. Right? So they can learn from students slowly. Few things are lacking in the country is that if we start any entrepreneurship shell or we start an innovation cell, so funding is by universities, not by any other institution where they're getting funding from government as well. So there should be some kind of policy with the government that where they can bring this in picture that if university institutions starting this cell, where success rate is wonderful or high or maybe average, right? So they can have this much funding. There can be some ratio, 30% in the beginning. I'll just give an example, right? There could be different policy, government, and so on, right? And up to 100% funding government pools its skills in the institution. Full credit. Now we do have these kinds of funding for few institutions, recruit, like not for every institution in the country. So it should be for everybody. Let them train our entrepreneurs, right, of the future, right? Apart from that, we should have not those traditional now, right, ebook or maybe based book, right? We should have some kind of interactive, right, digital textbooks. So like sometimes we have some YouTube companies, they have some kind of sessions online where they get some kind of animations, all those things. Why can't you have such books, right, for the students, right? Especially who are looking for creative ideas, right? So those things can be taken care if we start with right innovation and entrepreneurship, right? It's not our perspective as a clinician. How can we develop these kinds of skills inside the market or in institutions, right? So first, we need to understand students' occupation interest, whether they are interested in entrepreneurship or not. If yes, what should be looking for? If we can map those things in the beginning before we start our maybe teaching learning thing, right, in the classroom, we should have that idea about the students, what they are looking for. And they should have opportunity to innovate. So we should restrict them. No, you should don't do this and this, right? So we should be open to the students if they are innovative, let them innovate something. There could be failure, right? When we learn from failure, and failure next is this only we do have, right? No. And if they are looking for entrepreneurship skill, we should let them develop the skills by having their own venture in the institution itself. Right? They start something in an institution, right? Could be a product, could be a service, it could be some other thing, right? So we should have this process. We do have, right? The institution are starting those things nowadays, but still we should have this policy in the institution to develop our entrepreneurs. And apart from that, once they are ready, before they go out from the institution as our budding entrepreneurs, they should go through competency learning where they are competent enough right now, or they need more skills, right, to develop before they start their own ventures, right? And even they can be given a chance. We can invite, or we can meet some successful entrepreneurs, right? How they go to success, what hurdles they face, or what problems they face during their entire journey of this business or entrepreneurship, right? So they can learn from them, right? And based on that, we do research and like mission or try to do some kind of model, right? So we call it EIL model, right? I'll tell you what it's all about. So it's a very simple model. It's about educators, industry, and learners. Learners are our students, entrepreneurs, right? So what we do now, we need to have three entities or stakeholders together in the market or in the country. So first, we are educators, institutions is there. Secondly, industry should come up. And is the person who's our learner student. So what we do, we need to merge two entities together to give them the skills required to become entrepreneur. Right? We use many methods for that. Right? I'm not going to detail this model. It's very lengthy. It may take 1 hour, right? So I don't know much time to talk about this model, right? So we're trying to create knowledge and value creation through this model actually. So what we do have as educators, we can bring experiential learning in the classroom. We can discuss failure, right, or maybe failed startups, right? So we can learn from them. Why did they fail? As educators, it's our duty to bring that perspective or the gap in the classroom. And if we know that, so we can bring industry, how industry can help fill that. When we go through many processes in this particular class, and once we mix all those things, right, and we can have a person called learner. I don't call them student, I call them learners. So that learner is the person who is getting multiple skills to become our future entrepreneur, right? So look at few things, right? If I try, I just go finishing 2-3 minutes with one on one. So we see disruptions in the market many times. We've seen COVID, recession. Now economists are saying that in a 6 month recession world again, with disruptions of every kind. And those things are challenging for us to start a new venture. So, and in that case, somebody talked about risk, right? Factor, and some cases risk is very high, and some cases risk is very low. And when risk is low, right? Opportunity to learn and is lesser. We know higher the risk, more the returns we generate. If you look at the financial chart, right? Once we have those challenges of maybe with high risk or with the low risk, we are generating now opportunity for them, which means that there is. So this gap can be filled by our entrepreneurs only, right? They can create jobs. They can even prove our economy like anything, right? And based on that, what we need good governance. Obviously, we do have, and we need more, right, modification than that. And there could be some reconstruction things can be done by the government in terms of policy and funding for entrepreneurs and startups. Right? And apart from that, our entrepreneurs are very innovative. They can leverage technology to take benefit of those opportunities which are generated by this distribution we do have in the world, in the economy. Finally, what we look after nowadays, we look after global development, not only for specific country, we look after global development. So roadmap ahead, right? So what we need to have strong skill enhancement orientation in the courses we are having. We should have strong skill set, like Professor Pranjal talked about it. Skill set is lacking sometimes. We need to bring that in picture. Strong academic industry student integration should be there. That's why we pick EPL model, which talks about this integration among three entities, industry and students. And apart from that, we need to have strong global perspective, especially right, to bring people to the classroom and in the institution itself. And there should be much focus on application of each subject. I took the point, this is Dr. Pranjal, right? So I had this in my slide, but C is matching with that professor as well, right? So we should talk about the practical aspect of each and every subject, not theoretical in class, theoretical things will go nowadays, right? And we should have more advanced teaching ways. Nowadays, it's teaching classroom actually to make this, so they learn more with experience, actually, right? Not with the slides. That's the last thing we do, have experiential learning. So let them do some project, let them start their own venture, maybe small current in institution itself. Let them learn from that studying. So that's much I have. Thank you so much, Mr. Smith. Right, nice to hear many.
Yeah, thank you. It was great. I would like to thank Dr. Sunil Kumar for his informative speech and request him to share his mail in chat box for any further queries our attendees might have.
Sure.
Yeah. Now I would like to invite Ms. Parul Vanchanda, Assistant Professor at Vivekananda Institute of Professional Studies, to share her thoughts.
I'll just share my screen. Is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes, it's visible.
My presentation is visible, right?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you very much for actually inviting me, and I feel honored to be a part of this panel, wherein Professor Datta, Professor Jha, Ms. Mehta, Mr. Piyush Banchal, and Mr. Sunil Kumar have already shared their views. So I would also wanted to share a perspective relating to how we can make the universities more entrepreneurial in nature. So far, we have realized that the kind of curriculum which we've had, right, there has been a mention about the same thing by Mr. Mehta also, and in the last presentation by Mr. Sunil Kumar also, in his model of EIL model. So my perspective is that universities need to be made more entrepreneurial, and how can we actually do that? Before I move ahead with my presentation, I just want to have a brief overview to all of you relating to the contents which I will be actually sharing with all of you. And to start with, if I talk about the startup ecosystem precisely, the one perspective on which I'll be detailing today is the universities, because I feel that if we can actually have the universities go or prosper in the correct manner, our initial task is done, right? And if I talk about the Indian ecosystem precisely, though we are the third in the world after USA and China, but that also remains a harsh reality that 90% of the startups fail in the first 5 years, right? When they are actually incepted from their 5 years of growth. So why this is actually happening? What is the reason behind the startup failure rate is that high? So if we think that the universities can play a big role in this particular thing, it is correct in that regard, because the reality is that universities have a lot of potential to actually kind of sensitize students and guide them in a correct manner. And they have realized, I mean, the universities have realized that to actually prosper national entrepreneurship, they have actually played or they play a very, very crucial role in that regard. And additionally, universities in this regard have also realized that they are no longer the traditional labor stock providers to the economy, but rather they have to be the ones who are known to be the progressive job creators in the society. Now, just to give you a snapshot of those universities from where a lot of startups have initiated in the Indian context, herein IIT Delhi is the one which is leading, and IIT Bombay and BITS Pilani followed. So, how are these universities or colleges different from the rest of them? Why can't we have more of the colleges or universities from India being listed over here in this particular list, which tells about the number of startups which have grown? So the fact of the matter is that what unique are they doing, and where are the rest of the universities or colleges missing? Because if you actually see the list, it's very unfortunate to see that when it comes to Indian universities and colleges, there's only the mention of your IITs, IIMs, and BITS. There is no third college or university which has made up to this particular list. So the fact of the matter actually makes me kind of brainstorm relating to the fact that what is that something which we are still lacking on? And there's two concepts which I would want to discuss with all of you. The next basic perception is that the triple helix model for innovation. Now, how do we say that this particular model is a kind of a solution to what I am saying? The reason behind that is this model basically talks about actually bringing in an integration of your academic, your industry, and your governments. And how can this be actually done, or how can one actually make use of this particular thing? See, because when I'm talking about academia, industry, governments, it is very certain that these three cannot work in isolation. They have to have some kind of liaising done. And when I'm talking about the liaising, I really mean it in the manner that if I talk about the university and the business in that context, over here, business and industry are often kind of taken as a substitute. This diagram will be more elaborative to you, which will help you understand this model, the triple helix model for innovation, which actually needs to be implemented and is a very actual practice in countries outside. But I still think India still needs to get these three things oriented in the right direction to have more of student entrepreneurial ventures coming up in India. So when I talk about the effort which is actually to be kind of initiated at the university and the business level, this basically means that the university should actually try to kind of initiate research which can be commercialized, right? They should not be working on things wherein you know the commercialization will not be a reality in the coming years to come. So if the universities and the business enterprises go hand in hand in this context, they both can help them in the long run. And when I talk about the second aspect of that is the university and the government, I would want to take a small example over here in regard to the fact that the new economic policy which was launched, right? They have a lot of important insights, and because of those important insights, the government of Gujarat has really initiated with a policy which has been kind of appraised and acknowledged by the rest of the governments also about the student startup and innovation policy. Now, this particular policy is talking about making people aware about entrepreneurship, right? Establishing the innovation and startup ecosystem in all educational institutions. It talks about sensitizing another 5 million students, actually kind of prototype verification of another 10,000 concepts, 5,000 filings of your patents, and another kind of inhibition or incubation of another, say, 500 startups. Now, this is a perfect example wherein the government has actually kind of come hand in hand with the universities, because this all is kind of possible only when the curriculum is being evolved, when they have university support. And now when I talk about the third aspect, which is talking about the third aspect, which is about the university and the government specifically, I mean the industry and the government specifically. Now over here, the government has a bit of, it actually defines the attitude the government has towards the market, right? If it is just a liberal kind of an attitude, right? Or if it is something which is more involved or regulating kind of an attitude, then it will have more of a liberal kind of an attitude. It would just prevent failures. And when it has more of a regulatory, majorly in developing economies, the government would want to have more involved attitude towards the markets, because they would want to ensure that things should not go haywire or in an abrupt manner, right? So this triple helix model for innovation, if implemented, right, initiating from the universities to business governments and etc., would really be very, very helpful to all the institutions. Now, the next thing which I wanted to actually propose is relating to the 3-stage student entrepreneurship encouragement model. Now, this has been given by Jensen in the year 2015, though it is more academically based, but I have a strong perception that if this model is actually taken forward by the universities, this can actually help them become more entrepreneurial in nature. And what does this particular role model talks about? This talks about 3 stages which are to be accomplished by any university. That is in the form of the first stage, which talks about education, the second one, which talks about stimulation, and the third one, which talks about incubation. Now, it is very important that universities kind of do the initial work relating to making students aware about why this entrepreneurial thing is something which is of concern to them, right? Offering the courses is something which is very important. Making them understand that how these courses would help them is very important. See, there are two perspectives. Either you can have entrepreneurial courses specifically in the university, or you can have these courses these courses in the various degrees which you're offering. Like, for example, if you're offering a psychology kind of a course, right, you can have specific things enroll into it in the form of how entrepreneurship and psychology go hand in hand. This will actually help people become more aware about the fact that how this particular field can open up avenues of becoming an entrepreneur in the long run, right? So educating people is something which is very important. Now, this particular premise, if not satisfied, right, would lead people to be not more interested in this particular field. So actually sensitizing these students at a very early stage in terms of their higher education and graduation courses is very, very important. Now, the next thing which actually universities should actually try to cater is stimulating. Now, when I'm talking about stimulation, it basically means that giving them or providing them the way towards kind of moving from ideation stage to business plan stage. Because see, moving from ideation to business plan stage, there are a lot of challenges which are there. You have to perform a lot of activities which are to be actually kind of taken care of, right? If I talk about your founding team, right? Founding the right set of partners which complement each other is a very, very big thing, right? People often go wrong and they often kind of have this inhibition in their mind that we should not have partnered with these set of people. So finding the right set of partners again become very important. Another aspect which is actually a very important part of the stimulation stage is specifically talking about the feasibility studies. Now, an idea converted into a business plan is only valid if you have checked on the feasibility, right, on all aspects. So over here, when I'm talking about the feasibility, I'm talking about the comprehensive feasibility starting from your technical to your financial to your production, to your marketing, to your operational, every level. Another aspect which we have to cover over here is about how do actually the students actually pitch those opportunities to other people like the investors or the other accelerators and etc. So creation of those pitching kind of actually is very, very important. You need to know that what material do you need to speak to the investor, right? What are the touch points which when explained to the investor would be really helpful to you. So stimulation actually helps you understand all of them in a very comprehensive manner. Now, the last stage which the entrepreneurial university should actually cater to is incubation. Now, the reality is universities actually kind of do their best in educating and they do stimulate the enterprises too from the ideation stage to the business plan stage. But they often lack in the third stage because of the resources, the government support, or their lack of liaising with the industry. And that is where I say that the triple helix model is of very much importance here, right? If you have the triple helix model being actually practiced by universities all across, you will never face a problem in the incubation stage also, because over here in the incubation stage, it is more majorly talking about the kind of work which has to be presented forward by the incubators or the accelerators, actually kind of ensuring that the company becomes independent and is surviving and sustaining and scalable at the same time. Because we are not looking for a kind of a growth which is just for another 1 or 2 years. We are ensuring or we would want our startups to actually be kind of scalable and sustainable at the both ends, right? Now, this is just a kind of a conclusion to my presentation, which actually talks about how do education or how does entrepreneurial education and support offerings can actually help universities kind of uh, follow this three-stage model. We refer that the three-stage model should be something which should be incorporated in the universities. But now, what at the university level should be taken care of so that we understand that this particular model would be successful, right? So one has to, at the university level, kind of try to have an emphasis on the educational offerings, right? Now, precisely talking about when I'm talking about the business plan courses, they would comprise things of as in forming teams, considering more than just the product in terms of a comprehensive overview of the marketing activities and etc. Talking about the pitch and also assessing your own entrepreneurial skills. When I'm talking about the entrepreneurial skill courses precisely, it talks about specialized skills relating to entrepreneurship, which can be from strategy formulation to making sales, making more business development, and to managing your finances. So educational offerings in both the contexts are very, very important, right? It has been often observed that entrepreneurial skill courses are often pursued by people once they start off with their businesses and once they realize that they're not good with some specific skill set. So that is when they actually do it. But if those courses are enrolled in the beginning with the kind of university, the curriculum which they are doing, they can actually judge for their competence parallelly. Now, the second set of services which should be extended by the universities are incubator services. Now, see, incubator services majorly. Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir. So incubator services are majorly relating to offering common working spaces and mentoring services and networking and funding, which of course is the biggest kind of thing which a startup can actually kind of get. The third and the fourth are relating to the university culture. The university culture has to be, of course, supportive and the role models have to be there. And one last thing which I would want to mention over here is that it is always important to have independent centers for entrepreneurship in universities. If they are phased out of any disciplines, departments, or committees, they will always be biased. So it is very important to have independent center of entrepreneurships in universities and also technology transfer kind of offices to ensure that you're able to actually kind of take your technology to this next step of commercialization. So these were my viewpoints relating to the use of the triple helix model and the student engagement. Thank you so much.
Now, I would like to thank Ms. Arun Manchanda for her beautiful speech and request her to share her mail. Any queries our attendees might have. Would also like to thank all our guest speakers on the making this conference such a warm and productive event. The views and insights, all the attendees patiently hearing us. We shall return tomorrow with the third session of Conference 1.0. Until then, stay tuned.
Thank you so much.